Well, welcome back to the Discover Fort Smith podcast. My name is Josh Buchfink. I'm with the city of Fort Smith, and today I have a special co-host. Again with us is Joe Cline, normally the guy running the show behind the camera, making everything happen. Today he is not only behind the camera, but he's also in front of the camera. I don't know how you're two places at once, but he's making it happen. So thank you so much for being here, Joe. This podcast is a collaboration between the City of Fort Smith and the Convention and Visitors Bureau, Discover Fort Smith. So we're excited to be today in the Clayton House in the formal parlor room. And there's a lot of history in this room, and we're surely going to hear some more about that today because we have some special guests with us today. We have Sue and Sonny Robinson. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you. Thank you for asking us.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about what you guys do. They may have seen you in other places in the city, right? So where might people recognize you from on a normal basis?
I don't really know.
Well, I think they might know him as Judge Parker.
Judge Parker, yeah, that's a pretty big one.
I've been in dry cleaning stores, and they said, "Are you the one that does Judge Parker?" I said, "Guilty."
That's funny.
Yeah, so you guys are known for portraying, reenacting Judge Parker and his wife, Mary, right? Yeah. So, and you guys have been doing that for how long now?
Almost 20 years.
About 20 years, yeah.
Wow. And where do you typically do those reenactments at?
Well, at the Museum of History. We did started out really at the National Historic Site, doing the trials there with the National Park Service, and then got me doing. One of the park rangers said, "Well, why don't you come and do Judge Parker? You look more like him than the one that's doing it right now." And I won't mention his name, but so I did that, and we started from there to worked our way into the Museum of History, or the museum, yeah.
First thing we did at the Museum of History, the director then, Lisa Gramlich, wanted to do something for children. Mm-hmm. So we decided to do a Judge Parker birthday party. No. And that was really the first thing we did. And my husband said, "Well, why don't you dress up as Mary and come serve the cake or something?" So that was the first time I was ever involved with it. But people would ask questions.
Yeah.
And so we found out really quickly that we needed to know what we were talking about. So we spent a lot of time studying, and we've traveled. We've been to Judge Parker's hometown, and we actually spoke to the Historical Society there. Nice. We went to St. Joseph and saw where they lived there. We saw where he taught school. He was a school teacher. We saw where he taught school.
And he went to college, yeah.
And where he
Franklin College.
And Franklin College. So we know what we're talking about. We don't.
Basically,
yeah. And if we don't know, we'll really tell you.
Have you always been interested in history? Or?
I just kind of, sort of. And when I was in high school, I took a history class with Ray Baker.
Okay.
And he was really interesting because he got you involved in everything.
Yeah.
It really
I heard he was a dynamic teacher. Yeah,
he was real good. So that kind of started, but then I blame Sue on all this. She's the one that got me started on the Judge Parker thing. Or reenacting is what she really got me doing.
Yeah. And I guess I started really pretty young because I grew up right around in this neighborhood. My grandmother lived up the road. And so I went to the girls' club across the street that is now Future School, and I played on the playground where the elementary school is across the street, and these old houses, and you would see the old houses, and then they would tell you, "Oh, well, somebody lived there, someone important lived there," and it kind of stayed with me from being just a small child. Yeah. It was a great place to grow up.
That actually brings up a question that we always like to ask is, so this sounds like it's always been home for you, Fort Smith has?
Yes. We were both born at St. Edward's Hospital.
Interesting about that. I was born February 20th, 1950 at St. Edward's. She was born February 21st, 1951.
1 year and 1 day later.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we were born in the same hospital, and I believe probably at that time we were in the basement. I think maternity was in the basement. So that's
hilarious.
Where we were both born there, and both attended elementary school. Both went all the way through West Ark here.
I imagine you guys have seen the community change a lot throughout the years. What are some of the changes that you've seen and
your
notable
neighborhood changed?
My neighborhood changed. Well, I grew up in Southtown what they call Southtown,
Okay.
South Fort Smith, and it's over on like 30th Street down there by in that area, 31st Street, and it was just a small community, and it had its own post office, its own zip code. My dad was worked for the smelter, and so it was just a little small neighborhood, and that place has really just taken off after it got incorporated into the city, and that made a lot of difference in that. And she did an article on that.
Yeah, I write for the Fort Smith Historical Society Journal, and I did write an article on Southtown. It was its own. I actually have letters that Sonny mailed home to his grandmother, who was the postmistress in Southtown, but they're not addressed to Fort Smith. They're addressed to South Fort Smith.
Wow.
So it had its own separate everything.
To give people who maybe aren't Fort Smith natives like myself a little bit more context, what are some things that are in the area now so that we can kind of think about exactly
Zero
where
Street.
that is? Okay.
It's Zero and Old Greenwood. Is
It was Ream. Ream is right.
Right in that
so
area
towards
there.
Chaffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You know, when you go down to the end of Jenny Lind and that little fancy liquor store sitting there,
Yes.
I can tell you lots of stories about those two streams that went beside there. But from there, going back toward Barling, all basically everything in there would be
Southtown.
Southtown.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And she was North Side.
I was North Side girl. And never the twain shall meet, seriously.
Yeah.
It was really like two different worlds at that time.
So how'd you guys meet?
Scottish Club.
Scottish Club.
Okay.
Yeah.
Scottish Club.
A friend of mine that worked at ABF with me, and he was in the Scottish Club, and he invited me to go to the games one day, and I called and checked on the games about whether I could carry a sword, because I reenacted at Renaissance Fair in Muskogee, and as a Scottish guy, and ended up who I was talking to was Sue.
Oh, that's funny. That's awesome.
So I joined the Scottish
And you said
Club.
she sounds pretty.
I don't know. We probably won't get into that. 'Cause at the Scottish Club, we
Anyway, we went
met
to,
there.
we worked on the Scottish Club together. I sincerely believe deep in my heart anyone who's thinking about getting married needs to have a project that they build with their own hands. And if they can't do that, then they don't have any business together. But we have built so many things, and one of the first things we built children's games.
Yeah. For the
And
Scottish Club.
I was in charge of the children's area.
Wow.
So we built children's games, and Sonny was in charge of the grounds. So he had drove
John
around-
Deere,
drove around in a John
four-wheel.
Deere.
So what are the Scottish games?
You want to talk about the game? What kind of? There's the caber
go ahead.
toss and
Yeah. The caber toss.
the caber toss. There's a weight. There's a weight that I don't know what you call it, but it goes between their legs and over their backs and over. And then there's a haggis toss, and the caber toss is a famous one with the pole that you have to flip once.
Yes.
And
I've
all
seen
of
that.
these things, all things are historic. The caber toss was actually started as a way to build a bridge across a stream. That's how the guys would make real quick bridges to go across streams. So they're all basically all the Scottish games involved throwing something. And then we did bring bands in. We brought in pipe bands from all over. And we had it at Fort Smith Park, and at that time, Fort Smith Park had a little bridge. Remember when they came across the bridge?
Right.
Oh, it was so pretty to watch them come across the
With
bridge.
that creek and everything.
Little creek there.
And so you're saying that was happening in Fort Smith. Is that still happening, or Scottish
No.
games? Okay.
The Scottish games, what happens a lot of times is you wear your people out.
Or they just grow old.
Or they like us, they just eventually get old. But money is one good rain got us, really. And one bad weather day. And the club eventually did fizzle because a lot of the people were older. But yeah, it's a lot of physical work.
Yeah.
Yes.
It really is. It takes a dedication of young people.
And one thing we did get really involved with when she worked at the clearinghouse, then he
community
would do
services
all the
clearinghouse?
fundraisers,
Nice.
and we worked 24 hours sometimes just on the fundraiser.
Yeah.
And we were
Nice.
there over 12 hours just for the fundraiser.
We
itself.
worked the 4th of July.
Like 4th
Yeah.
of July, it is hot.
Yeah. What work did you do for the clearinghouse?
I was actually community relations. My job was to find volunteers and donations to keep the programs operating, and spoke in every church in town.
Yeah.
Met a lot of really nice people. We did a heritage festival. We did 5 years of heritage festival before they eventually started doing the bike race, which I think they still do.
They do, yeah.
And we did a heritage festival that was mostly children, all children's events, and everything was free. And I worked with the city, and we had Irish dancers, and we had brought in the Choctaw princesses, and all things, related to children. On the National Historic Site grounds, we actually had the Mexican dancing horses. So things like this. Our thing was to have everything as free as we could make it because of the people we worked with.
Yeah.
When you're looking at a family that's making minimum wage and trying to take 4 children to the rodeo,
right,
that's a truckload of money.
Yes, yes.
So, and then we got sponsorships, and the money went for Meals for Kids. Primarily Meals for Kids.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what the clearinghouse is all about, right?
Yeah,
Meals for kids and making sure that helping with people who have food.
I was there 10 years. I retired from there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Awesome.
So
I
you guys
was there 10 years as well.
you were as well.
He got roped into
I
everything.
got volunteered for everything.
He got voluntold.
Kind of like your role with Judge Parker. You kind of got roped into it.
Well, I started to say she threw me under the bus at the clearinghouse because we were at the park, and the mayor was going to speak. And so she said, go introduce the mayor. I said, what? She said, I don't know what. Well, just go ahead and do it. So I was never used to doing anything like that, so I had to go and do that. I mean, it was other thing that she got me started, and like one of my grade school teachers got me started talking. I wouldn't stop after that. I hadn't stopped since. So she's the one that got me started in all that stuff.
I believe you should never miss a chance to do something you think you want to do, because it's better to say, I tried it and it didn't work, than to be sitting there when you're our age going, geez, I wish I'd given that a shot.
Yes.
Give it a shot. All they can do is say no.
So what are some of the events or things that you've given a shot like that
Tell
you're
me
really
about
proud
the
of?
Keelboat.
The keelboat, that was pretty good. They brought in a keelboat, an actual keelboat with people in it. We had a guy, Reggie Moore. I don't know if a lot of people would know Reggie Moore. And he was dressed as a rifle regiment, and he was on the keelboat with several other people. They brought the keelboat down the river. I think they got it from Clarksville. They brought it in. Brought it down, and no, it parked over at the park and out of the park, and brought it around the keelboat down there, and they parked the keelboat, and there was just tons of people along the river going to see this thing.
Christmas Day. That was the kickoff for the city's bicentennial. Mayor Sanders wanted to do something for to kick it off, to start it off. And we were, at that time, my husband was the president of Friends of the Fort, which was a support group at the National Historic Site. So we thought we would give this a shot. Those guys actually spent the night at Fort Smith Park with the keelboat on a trailer rather than trust it to be left anywhere. So it was cold. And we really didn't think anybody would show up.
No, and then a few months after that, we found out the keelboat sank in Charleston.
Oh, no.
We were one of the last ones to ever get to see the keelboat.
If that had sunk on the Arkansas River when they come down, it would have been a disaster. None of them was wearing life jackets.
But it worked well for us. So
it was really good. It was a really well attended event.
And after the keelboat landing, and everyone spoke, Mayor Sanders spoke, and everyone spoke, we went to the Museum of History, where we had birthday cake for the city of Fort Smith. And again, Reggie sang happy birthday to the city of Fort Smith.
Because it was founded on Christmas.
Yeah, Christmas Day.
Christmas Day.
Wow.
So it was, we didn't think anyone would show up. I will remember all of my life turning around and looking and seeing little boys about 8 years old rolling down those hills at the National Historic Site and thinking, oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, that was Christmas Day.
Yeah.
And they came out for that. Another thing we did there, we did quite a bit with them. Besides the night courts, which we did, but we also, for history buffs in Fort Smith and people who actually lived at Coke Hill, you knew a gentleman who lived there. He grew up there. in the 40s and 50s.
Yeah, Maxie
Maxie.
Dart. He grew up there. He was born in Coke Hill.
Yeah.
And 10 years before me, 1940.
So it was a no man's land, like I said. They eventually needed to clean it up to give the land when they gave it to the city of Fort Smith.
Okay.
I mean, they gave it to the government to become the historic site.
Okay.
But there are still people here, lots of people here, whose parents and had family who lived on Coke Hill, and what started out as just a place for people to go when it was the old fort way back in the 1840s and 30s, eventually worked its way into a little neighborhood of their own. And these people were very proud of their houses, and so many stories about Coke Hill.
Yeah.
Where exactly is that? Coke
You
Hill?
know where the National Historic Site is?
Yes.
And you go up the hill where the big flagpole is on top of it, where the old fort, the side of the old
Bell
fort.
Point.
Yes.
Yeah, right there.
Right there.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So if you were to go out there today and wanted to learn information about that,
They
could you?
can't talk to you about it because it's outside their time period. That's why Friends of the Fort had to do it. They have a time period that they can,
They
and
couldn't even talk about the Frisco station,
Yeah.
and they own that.
yeah.
So you would really need to go to the Museum of History
Yeah.
to learn all about that kind of
yeah,
stuff.
or call
right?
us. We'll walk you around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are those of us who know.
We've taken a lot of tours. Prior,
Yes.
you know,
That's what I want to ask about. You guys were
We've
telling us
done
about
two.
all the different
We've
tours
done
that you
two,
do.
yeah.
Okay. What other tours have you done? You've done a lot.
We've done the walking tours at the Oak Cemetery. Tales of the Crypt, we were involved with those when the city of Fort Smith was doing them, the Parks Department. And then we did the one for the Marshals Museum. After that, for a while, after the city of Fort Smith, University of Arkansas did them for a while. And then the one we did was for the Marshals Museum.
where we started out at the Murder and Mayhem tour
We
at the
started-
museum. We were doing the bus tour, driving around town, talking about haunted places in the city.
But they're still doing that.
Yeah, they still do that. They
Murder
still do
and
that.
Mayhem.
They were doing it on. We were doing it on the trolley, the
The
rubber wheel trolley.
rubber wheel
Yeah.
trolley.
We were doing that.
Yeah, so they've changed it, but when we were doing it, that's how it was done. So
Yeah.
it has evolved over the years, and the Clayton House has always been part of that. So we've done that.
Can you tell us more about the Marshals tours that you said you've done?
You know more about the Marshals.
The Marshals Museum tour that we did was, again, it was everyone in it was related to the court system somehow. He says, I know more about it because I wrote the parts. We had, there's a deputy out there. There's a big scene in True Grit where the guy goes down in the pit of, the girl goes down in the pit of the snakes. And
Yes.
that they say is built around something that really happened to one of the deputies that's out there. And anyone remember his name, they can yell it out. I can't remember his name right off the top. It was a French name. But what really happened was there was a pit of vipers, but he sent one of his posse members down there. But he's out there. We talked about him. We talked about J. Warren Reed, who was Parker's nemesis. He was he even made fun of Parker how he dressed. And he was.
Don't even get me started about Jay Warren Reed.
Yeah.
You're taking it personal at this point, right?
Still takes it personally. And there was a deputy we talked about was the only deputy that we know of who killed another deputy who's actually buried out there. One deputy killed another deputy. And anyone who was associated with the court, not all of them, but what we had time to do. And one we did was Winston.
Yeah.
Winston was
Reggie Moore played Winston.
yeah. We just loved it. He always comes up when we start talking about this, and he passed away a few years ago. So you guys missed something you didn't know, Reggie.
Yeah.
But he did. Winston was Parker's.
George Winston is what his name. I couldn't think of it.
He was a former slave, and he was in the Union Army. He mustered out here in Fort Smith, stayed in Fort Smith. He was Parker's bailiff. And when they closed the court here, he became a real estate. He went into real estate. Wow. And he made quite a bit of money in real estate, but he stepped out in front of a car because nobody understood cars. So he stepped out in front of a car, and that's how he died. And he's buried right up by the gazebo at the Oak.
Oh, yeah.
So we always do George because that's a good place to end is up there. So
Yeah.
all of these, to us, that's something that we used to do when we were dating. Actually, we would go through cemeteries.
Wow, what a date!
It's romantic.
Well, stick your hand in the side of a crypt. That's pretty.
Yeah.
Let's go see what's in this one, But yeah, we did that, and there's one in Van Buren behind the train station where Bass Reeves' mother is buried. I mean, things like that. They're history books.
Yeah.
They are there. And if you have any interest in this, it's awfully hard to just walk by them and pretend you don't see them. But especially the oak.
Yeah.
Yes.
The oak is just Bass Reeves' first wife
And
is there.
we get invited to
Yes.
different things. Tom Wing, I don't know if you know Tom
Oh,
Wing.
yeah. Uh-huh.
He's running a Dren Scott house, and they have a Christmas party every year. And he always invites us to come over as Judge Parker and Mary and mingle with his guests and all that. And so we get invited to different things like that, groups that ask us to come and speak to them and anything
Yeah.
like that. So as long as they'll feed us, we're okay. We don't charge anything.
No, we've never.
So Judge Parker was known as the hanging judge.
But it wasn't called that. I was never called that to my face. I mean,
Yeah,
his face.
yeah. I just wonder, what are some misconceptions about Judge?
Well, that he was mean, and
Yeah.
he wasn't mean. He was called a hanging judge, but he didn't believe in hanging because he didn't believe in capital punishment. He grew up in a Quaker village and got a lot of his morals and beliefs by the Quakers. They didn't believe in capital punishment, and they allowed their women to vote and hold office. And he supported a legislation when he was a congressman in St. Joseph, Missouri, that would have allowed women the right to vote and hold office,
Oh, wow.
but only in the U.S. territories. And it didn't happen, so there was no woman that sat on his bench, but he believed they should have.
Mm-hmm.
And he would, at this first hanging, they were going to hang 8 men, or I think it was 8, and there was a young man that he thought was too young to hang, so he wrote to President Grant, who appointed him as federal judge, and got this young man sentenced, commuted to life in prison. So that's what, and a woman, he's done the same thing with him. He didn't believe in hanging women for sure, so he got one of those pardoned like that, or not pardoned, but they're sentenced, commuted to life in prison. So he was a real compassionate fellow. He was real friendly. He would talk to people. There was an instance where the roughest guy in Fort Smith come down the hall and at their court, and they come out, and Judge Parker stopped talking to his lawyers and stuff, and put his arm around this guy and talked to him for about 5 or 10 minutes, and just like nothing else.
Yeah.
So he was real friendly to everybody. He wasn't prejudiced at all. If people say, well, they hung more Indians than they did white people, well, that's not true. They didn't. It was kind of a 3-way thing.
Yeah.
African American, Indian, and white, they were pretty much the same thing. He didn't see that. He saw the law.
Right.
He went strictly by the law.
Right. What kind of things did I mean? I know that he's obviously notable for his judicial work, but what other things did they do in the community, Mary and Judge Isaac Parker?
They did the fair. They
did the fair, and the judge was an odd fellow.
Yeah, odd fellow.
He belonged to the Odd Fellows.
Okay, what is that?
It's kind of like the Masons, but Mary was Catholic.
Oh, okay.
So the Odd Fellows, the Odd Fellows still exist, don't they?
Right. Yeah, they do.
And they're a beneficial group. They help the poor and do things like that.
Young men, I think a lot of
young men, mostly young men. Now Mary tutored, and she tutored boys because, and they both taught school. Parker taught elementary school when he was a young man. That's how he got money to go to college. And Mary taught elementary school, but of course, as a married woman, she could not work full time.
Right.
So she did some substitute teaching here, but she did tutor, and she tutored boys. And so they did that. Mary, of course, she was most famous, I guess, for her part in the fortnightly club that started the library.
Okay.
And she and Florence Clayton were BFF. I mean, you couldn't get between them. And Mary would have all the meetings and everything planned here that she could, so Florence could come, because Florence had adopted a lot of extra children and had a hard time getting out. So, and even after the Claytons moved to Oklahoma and the judge died and Mary was living with her
This
oldest.
is where I always say, "What, I'm dead?"
Yeah, this is.
She does that to me all the time. Yeah.
They continued to be friends.
Oh, great.
And Mary, God bless her, outlived all of them. She lived until like 1926, 27. She outlived everyone.
Wow.
But they were really truly involved in the community. And Parker, again, I write for the Journal, and I just wrote an article about Parker. And one of the things he did in this article, there was a deputy who had been killed and someone who knew him, and he asked this man, could he pay for his own funeral? Did he have enough money to pay for his own funeral? Another one I wrote, there was a woman who had been killed, and he knew the family, and he said, did she make last rites? Was she able to see a priest? There are always these little things coming in there in the middle of a court that you hear from Parker coming through, and it's like, guys, leave him alone.
Yeah.
It's like there was a trial with a little Indian boy that testified because some Indians were involved in it, murder. Mm-hmm. And the Indian little boy was scared, and Parker leaned over to him and told him, don't worry about anything. You just answer the questions, and I'll take care of you. And so he made sure that little boy was comfortable, and not afraid, because he was testifying against his own people, the Indians.
Where could somebody come see you, like, now? Are you guys performing anytime soon or on a regular basis?
We don't have regular, wherever we're invited.
Okay.
Usually, if there's something going on, it'll be at the Museum of History.
Okay.
More than likely there. Then I guess the next thing coming up, probably since school's out right now, we're kind of on hiatus.
Yeah.
Our different groups. What was the Clemens?
There are lots of service groups that meet through the year that invite us to come and speak to them, and we'll do that.
That's great.
Like my husband said, we'll go anywhere that if we can possibly do it. And we really don't even ask for food. We don't ask. We don't ask for anything. We don't need anything.
We don't ask them to feed us.
No,
but if they do, we'll take advantage of it.
It doesn't hurt.
And you guys are at the Fall Festival every year,
We
right?
will be.
Yeah.
We're going to
Somewhere,
be
I'm
at the
sure.
Marshall's the
Baseball game. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. When is that, Bill?
Well, that may be. This may air before or after that, I think.
The 26th. I believe that's the next thing that we have planned for sure is the Marshall's ball game, July 26th.
Okay.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Now, you guys have some more connections with the U.S. Marshals Museum. As we were talking before, you were talking about some of the things that you helped build that are there now, maybe? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Fort Smith Museum of History.
Museum of
Excuse
History.
me.
Yeah.
Like the keel boat, when I did a little model keel boat, and I used the little soldiers that you buy, the Civil War soldiers.
Yeah.
And so I took them and carved off all their weapons and stuff and made them into civilians. And I put them on a little keel boat. And they put that up at the University of Arkansas and was on display there. It's it's by the skiff if you go into the museum.
But you built the skiff.
I built a skiff with some help from Maxie Dart. We built a little schoolhouse that had Victorian schoolhouse that we did. Built the floor and a bookcase for it and other pieces of furniture. They had a little electric car in the 1800s, and it's down there. And now this is what me and Sue did together. We had to put a road underneath the car, and so it was parked in a little niche, and I had to go get the brick, and we got the brick up there, and we jacked the car up, and we put bricks underneath the wheels, and jacked it back down, jacked it.
Yeah.
And so Sue helped me do all that. She'll do it as long as that I need her to do something or whatever. She's
Again, building.
well to do it. I build, she writes, and I don't write, but we kind of complement each other, I think, in a way.
But we did build the road under that, and then we built Sonny built the courtroom set that's upstairs, and also in the media center there's a news desk.
Yes.
where the kids can sit. That was like the first thing you built.
That's
wasn't it?
one of the first
Oh,
things I
wow.
built.
You built that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's awesome.
And you can go there now and see all these things. A lot of those
Yes.
things are interactive, right?
they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The skiff, you can sit.
A lot of
and
them are
see.
fun for kids,
Yeah.
too, specifically for kids.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly what they're there for.
Like the carpenter's place back there, there's a little table and they can have building blocks and
Yes.
stuff. I made some of the blocks for that they could build things with and play with and something to get their hands on and not get in trouble.
Yeah.
Um,
That's what I appreciate about the museum because, as a parent, I'm walking in and I'm like, just don't touch anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But there's
lot of
intentional
things.
spots for them to do that. And it
Right.
makes me feel better. Like, okay, I'm not just restricting them the whole time. They can learn, but
Right.
then they can have a little fun too. And it can all be together rather than, this is a stuffy place that they never want to visit again. No, this is a place we want to go to the museum,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know?
And
So,
the kids' court is a prime example of something like that because the kids get involved. They play all the characters if we have enough kids.
oh, that's
They-
cool.
they're the jury and everything.
Yeah. The judge,
that's cool.
we'll get a judge. It might be a girl, it might be whatever.
Whoever wants to be the judge is the
Whoever
judge.
wants to be the judge, whoever wants to do this. And every once in a while you get into a good, one of the kids are really into it and they really start getting into their parts, like a prosecuting attorney or something like
Yeah.
that. They can get pretty mean.
Do they still do that? Do they do
We do
still
it on occasion. We did one, I
Oh,
guess,
man, I would love
in
to.
June. We did a kids' court in June.
Oh yeah.
That's when the Big Bad Wolf stood trial for destroying the pig's house, 2 pigs' houses, but he was acquitted.
But we
Yeah.
had a big group of kids for that.
Yeah.
We had more there on the jury too.
Man,
than
what
we
a
had-
defense lawyer. He was acquitted.
Well, actually, Susie Brooks wrote that script. Well, the scripts are written for them, just
Yeah.
like a regular night court. The scripts are written for them, and but the jury does have to make they decide.
Yeah. Oh, that's
They
amazing.
decide. So that's at night court. The kids' courts are a lot of fun, and we have a lot of fun working with the children. And I think that's probably our main focus because eventually, if funding decisions are made, those guys are the ones who are going to make it. And you want them to be like your kids. You want them to
Right.
remember they had fun at the museum. And
Right.
you want that in their heads.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. So, if people wanted to find information like when to do this or where to do this, I guess that would be Fort Smith Museum of History Facebook or something like that.
And Sue's Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my personal Facebook or the Fort Smith Historical Society.
Oh, okay. Do you guys have a Facebook
They
page?
do have a Facebook
nice.
page and a website.
Okay, great.
Either one.
Fort Smith Historical Society. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
and if they're
awesome.
just real history buffs, we have a journal coming out in September. We put out 2 a year,
Okay.
and the next one will be out in September. And they're welcome to join that group. And our members are involved in a lot
Yeah.
because we draw people
We
who
even
are.
get Bill over there
Large.
involved in a lot of stuff that he might not want to be involved in.
Yeah.
So we do bring people in, but we do try to bring a lot of people in. Well, I mean, we would definitely get you guys.
Yes.
You'd be
Oh,
on
that's
cast
great.
somewhere doing something.
That's great. As you've portrayed these characters, how has it changed? Has it changed anything about your own lives or your personal lives at all, too?
Maybe in a way you think now.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe I think it gives me a broader view of overall people, people in general, and you kind of look at things a little bit different as far as people-wise go, because they're just regular old people, and that's what Judge Parker was.
Yeah.
He's just a regular old guy, and he wanted to help out, and he wasn't, mean like they thought he was, and all that. So I think it's kind of, maybe it's helped mellow me out a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that is true. I think it is a great leveling point that, especially if you get enough of it in your head and you look at it and you see it as part of this big continuation
Yeah.
of things that you're all just holding hands.
Yes.
You're just
Yes.
you're just part of a big link and try to be the best link you can be.
Yeah.
You have to be on your best behavior when you're doing
you
this.
do have to be on
You
your
don't
best.
want to make somebody mad because you said something bad when you were Judge Parker.
Right.
And you definitely don't want to make him mad.
Yeah.
We do think about that.
Yeah.
To us, Judge Parker, Mary Parker, the Claytons, these people are very real.
Yeah.
They're not somebody in a book or something. They're somebody they're going to walk in that door and talk to us someday.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's awesome. Where are some of your favorite spots? What is your favorite one that you've done where you had a good interaction, like with the crowd or audience?
I'd have to say the kids' court and when we talk to kids at the schools, bringing the kids at the museum,
Okay, yes.
and we talk to the kids there. You interact with them a lot too, and they ask you questions, or they just go off and talking about what they did or something, and so I think that's one of the best places that I've been involved with.
Yeah, I think anything that you can do out in public. We used to do walking tours here where we would leave from the Clayton house and go around to some of the houses in this area. Anything that gives, because people will have their own stories to tell you, and that's what I liked about Coke Hill. People brought photographs, people who lived there, people whose parents lived there, sat on the grounds and had picnics. And had like reunions when they were there.
Yeah.
Anything that we do in public that is not necessarily so structured that someone can't come up to me and say, hey, my great-grandma had a brooch just like that one you're wearing, and start a conversation on something like that. Because everything that we wear is there to start a conversation.
Wow.
And anything that gets people to a point where they think they can just walk up and talk to us because they can.
What's one of the funniest interactions you've had while doing reenactments?
Go ahead. I can't
Oh, I like the little girl that asked you the question you didn't know about Judge Parker.
Well, there was one when we first started, and we had before did a lot of research. She was probably about 13, 14 or so in Van Buren, and she came up to me when we started talking, and she asked me this question. I forgot what it was, but I didn't know the answer.
Nobody knew.
And I thought, maybe I need to start thinking. And I think she actually said something. She said something to me that she knew that I didn't know.
Yeah.
And so, I think I need to do some research. That was kind of funny.
She was the catalyst for the research,
Yeah.
right?
Basically, yeah.
She was. We've had a lot of just, really fun things like that happen. But again, I think the kids, oh God, I love it when it's over, when they're leaving and the kids come up and hug you. Which they may not feel like they can do that with anyone else in God's world, but for some reason they can hug us. That's cool.
That is awesome.
And I don't know what that is, but when they leave, they will.
Because we're old.
Because we're old, I guess.
And they feel safer around us.
Yeah, and they always want to see. They always want to see our shoes. And one of the best things that ever happened. This was really funny. There was a gentleman who volunteered at the Museum of History, and Sonny and I were in there a lot, as Judge and Mary Parker, and we came in one day as not Judge and Mary Parker, and there were quite a few people
James.
James. There were a lot of people in the lobby, and he looked right at me and he said, "Why, Mrs. Parker, I didn't recognize you with your clothes on."
That's
Another one I can think of is we were doing one of the higher trolley tours, and we were stopped. This is one of our stops. We stop here and talk about the ghost in the window and all that stuff. We were supposed to stop here. Well, we had a new driver, and we ride the trolley backwards.
Yeah, we
and
did.
so we pulled up in front of a different house, and it happened to be the Brizzlera house down the
next
road.
door.
okay.
We got out. We were supposed to get out and go up there. Somebody was supposed to be sitting on the porch knitting, and they weren't there. And should I mention
No.
his name? Mention our deputy that was on the trolley at the time playing the deputy. Go up there and he banged the butt of his pistol on the door and he said, "Open up in the name of the law." And there was somebody in the house.
We were
And he walked around the side of the house and the gazebo wasn't there. And I said, "We're at the wrong place. Get us out of here."
The police
they
showed
called
up.
the cops.
That's great. That's
Luckily,
great.
they had obviously seen the trolley and go by enough times they didn't pay any attention to us.
Oh my God.
Well, they were afraid to because
But we got everybody off the trolley and everything. It was, and it was a private party. It was all ladies, and thank goodness. Those women thought it was the funniest thing that had ever happened. Nothing we did the rest of the night touched it.
Yeah,
You know,
I bet.
nothing else was that good.
I bet. So this may seem like a silly question, and really one that I should know the answer to. So we're in the Clayton house right now. Where did Judge Isaac Parker and Mary Parker live? Where was their house? Was it close
Shouldn't know
by?
about that. It was on 5th?
13th.
13th, yeah, 13th.
They lived on where the old Channel 5 building is.
Yeah, that's right, where the Channel 5
Yeah, the old Channel 5 building on 13th and well, it's right there, right by 13th and Grand, where the old Channel 5 building is. Mary Parker, the foundation of the Parker home, after it was destroyed in a tornado, was used to build the first library because she was a member of the Fortnightly Club.
Okay.
So that's where the first library was built. But the foundation to that home is still there, still under the old Channel 5 building, and they at one time owned that whole 3-block area.
But their house was destroyed in the 1898 because after he died in 96.
He died in 90. Yeah, it was destroyed in the 1898.
When we say 96, we're going back to 18.
Yeah.
I get
Tornado.
mixed up sometimes. I have done that before. I said,
Well, because there was a tornado in the 1990s, right?
What year it is? This is 1800s.
The Fort Smith High School at that time was Darby, and it was brand new. It was just about 2 years old when what they called a cyclone came through and knocked it down. And it went right down 13th Street, and it took out Darby and the Parker House and Immaculate Conception Church, which was in St. Patrick's. It just made a line that went right down that. And there are some pictures that you'll never forget seeing of Garrison Avenue.
I think another funny thing we had was on the Honey Troy. That's with Bobby Joe Burns. That was kind of funny.
Well, it's a long story. Let's just say Bobby Joe Burns was a local murderer. He had killed someone. And this again was one of those private parties. And we had a gentleman who was dressed up like Bobby Joe Burns, and he was standing on the side of the road where he had committed the crime. And we had the trolley driver pull over to pick him up. Now, he was very obviously dressed as somebody who was done something very
nefarious,
bad.
Yeah.
And so the door opened, and this lady sitting beside me said, "You're not going to let him on, are you?" I said, "Oh, sure, let's let him on and see what he has to say."
Things like that on the trolley.
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun.
Bambi. Oh, man, Bambi.
Oh, yes. We had a lady who volunteered with us named Bambi Clifton, who was the best that you would ever want to. It's so much fun. You get this group of people who volunteer to do these things.
Yes.
And they have such a good time, and it's a chance for the people who are on the tour to enjoy them. But you always learn something because that was really something that happened. But it's just hilarious when it's over. And we've had people on these tours who actually opened. There was one who opened their home. It was a private home, but there was a ghost story in their home. So they actually opened their home and said, "Hey, come on in. We'll tell you our ghost story."
Wow.
And even Channel 5, because I had worked there for years and years, and they actually let me have the key so we could go in after hours and stand upstairs and talk about the ghosts at Channel 5. It's just, love that about Fort Smith. People are just so good like that. Yeah. And they're not only are they willing to do it, they're willing to help you do it. They think that's great. The people at so many. 21 West End. Every place that we've been involved in anything like that, it's just like, oh yeah, sure.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Come on in.
Yes, that's so cool. Yes.
And Clayton House was involved in everyone that we were. If we were here, they were here.
That's one of our stops. We would stop here
Clayton
and give
House
them refreshments.
Even when we went to the wrong Clayton House. The other Clayton House.
We managed to stop here after that.
Yeah, we managed to get them over here. But it's been, they say a long, strange road.
It's been a good ride.
It's been a good ride.
Yes. That's awesome.
Well, I just want to thank you guys for doing this, for being on the show, but for for doing everything that you've done in the community and really getting people interested in our history. And that not only has been a benefit to our residents, but a benefit to tourism and people coming in and seeing and learning about the history of this area. So thank you so much.
And we enjoyed doing that, telling somebody that they didn't know, something they didn't know, and making sure that it was right and a fact and not some kind of fictional
Our
story.
truth is so much better than their fiction.
Yeah, that's good.
It's just simple. It's that simple.
I agree.
It really is. That you degrade those people by adding to them. They don't need it.
Yeah, that's
It really
good.
does.
Good.
Well, thank you guys for having us.
Thank you.
I
Absolutely.
appreciate it.